Flat scans are very convenient.
Yeah.
I get the Fuji Frontier. That's my favorite. The colors are fantastic. Are we still missing this amount of people? I hope they show up.
Yeah, recently, yeah.
Mine on here?
That's
me.
like the convenience.
Out home, right?
This is nice.
All right, I guess first and foremost, who here has an actual archive
Like an actual photo?
for your negatives?
Oh,
and
you
for-
count a box under my bed, is that?
No, that doesn't count,
It's all
unfortunately.
labeled, it's just, it's not in a binder.
Get that stuff organized pronto. Is everybody happy with what they got? Anybody got the chance to look at them all yet? Yeah. Sunday for me was shit. So bad. I can't talk and shoot at the same time. I'm not good at managing two things at one time, believe it or not. So I printed out some old ones. I did get a couple of them from Sunday, but for the most part, I got my negatives back in blurry, bad composition, rushed everything. So I hope that you guys had a much better time of getting actual images than I did. I'm excited to see everybody. A lot of what we're going to be talking about today is not so much about what we did on Sunday, but more so having a conversation about photography and the philosophy of photography, especially if you want to be a street photographer or a photojournalist. There's a lot of things that I think about photography that now a lot of people have questions on. So I guess let's just go in a circle and everybody introduce themselves for real. Sunday we didn't really get a chance, so start with you, young man.
Okay, I'm Han. I'm 16. I'm from New Jersey, and this past Sunday, Sunday, my first time ever shooting film.
Wow. That's awesome. How'd you like it?
It was fun.
Yeah?
Yeah, it was
Anything
refreshing. Yeah, I got a lot of good ones.
My first roll was all blank.
All blank? Mine was all light leaks. I didn't close the thing all the way, so it was just all tarnished.
I think like the first time I ever hand developed, I developed the paper backing and not the film.
Oh.
Yeah.
I don't even know what that means.
I guess you don't develop.
I don't develop, that's why I come here.
People who do develop your own 120, when you take the film off of the paper back, there's a sheet between, there's the paper and then the film is kind of, and when you take it out, they feel very similar, but one of them is obviously much thinner, it's paper, and then the other one is film, and when I developed it, I was like, is there like, it looked like I left like a receipt in my pocket, put my hands through the wash, and I was like, why the hell does my roll look like this? My roll was sitting in the dark room.
Could you save it? Could you save it?
Yeah, actually.
Oh, okay, cool. Hey! Beautiful. Okay.
I'm Coral.
This is like an AA meeting. Hi, Carl. And how long have you been drinking?
Yeah. Wine and the beer.
I've been shooting. How long?
Hey everyone, I'm Jesse. I started shooting film about 4 years ago, just to kind of take a break from my desk job, outside and explore the world. And I do a lot of genre street as my least, genre the least experience in, so that's why I did this workshop. And my current project is like, I run this photo blog where ever since my first role to my current role, I kind of pick my favorites per role, and I kind of blog, like it's like a blog for all the roles of film shot. So over 4 years I've done like 300 roles, so you can literally see where I started to the roles from this blog, and kind of see my favorites and how my eye has changed over time. And it's kind of a fun way to kind of mix blogging and photography, which is why that also the book kind of stuck.
That's so, I love that. That's awesome.
Thanks for keeping track of all of that.
Yeah, like kind of I was engineer by it, so I kind of like filed this like very meticulously. Yeah.
So your archive is spot on, right?
Yeah, it's really fun. Yeah.
Take notes. I'm just pulling your leg. There's so many people that I
See that in
know.
the work, actually.
Yeah,
A lot of chaos between.
For real. There's so many people. One of my good buddies that works here, his name's Johnny. His shit is fucking everywhere, man. He's got binders and binders full, and there's nothing labeled. They're loose everywhere. It stresses me out. I get it, though. He shoots a lot.
Stresses me out. That's why.
Is that why you put it underneath the bed? I don't even want to look at it. Yeah, I get it. Well, I'm excited to hear more about that blog as we keep talking and everything. That's awesome.
Mainly in a way of getting a better understanding of myself, understanding of humans and humanity, if you will, and how that feeds into developing an art style that is just a storytelling that's agnostic of medium. So yeah, that's kind of what brought me.
You and I had some good conversation on Sunday about a lot of those things and how photography is like one small bit of each of our journeys as artists, and it should just be a part of it, not our whole identity. Just because if you're constantly thinking about, I'm a photographer, you're a human being first. And that's what's so awesome about, I think, street photography in general, is that it's the ability to take life at 1/1000th of a second and freeze it. And no other medium really has that ability to do that so objectively. Not that this medium is objective by any means, but we deal in reality in so many different ways than a lot of different art forms do. In case in point, you photographing your family and creating something so personal, that's so subjective to you, but what you see is objectively happening, and that's not really anything else that happens in any other medium. One could argue film and videography and everything like that, but those moments are always passing us by. And I think that what's so beautiful about, you're not, like you said, like photography isn't what you mainly do, but you're so interested in being able to see how different art forms connect everything else. And I think that...
Sorry, I also really appreciate it, but what your name was. I really like what you said about the democratization of art, if you will, right? Like, I think everybody, I say this when people say, I'm not a good dancer, don't know how to dance, and I'm like, well, if you have a body and you mean it, you are a dancer. And I feel that way about any art. Like, I think we're all creative and we're all artists. And I think it's just a question of access and belief. So
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, absolutely. My man.
I'm Brendan, 34 years young, and I am...
Word up.
I'm a professional photographer here in New York. I shoot on assignment events and fashion stuff for an agency called VFA. And then my wife and I also shoot a few weddings a year. And then I'll take my own personal clients outside of that. And self-taught. I never went to school for it. I moved to New York for a job in advertising and then didn't like it, so I worked in marketing and didn't like that. And had a bad boss. So I was like, you know what? I picked up this camera in 2018 and I was like, I like this. Maybe I'll be a photographer. So I quit my job and became a photographer. And I just kept doing it. And my goal was to just not go broke. And so having gone broke, feel free to clap.
I'll give you one of these. Yeah, absolutely.
Cool. You did the thing. Yeah, but I got into street photography specifically because one, I'm a transplant. I'm not from here. And I think every day you don't have to maximize everything, but like you live in New York, this is a place where people dream to come to, and you should take advantage of it.
Mm-hmm.
And so I noticed that when you shoot all these assignments, you're doing it at like other people kind of pointing you, or there's a shot list, and you're kind of operating. I always explain that like some days you're a plumber and some days you're an artist. When you're a photographer, some days you're just there to take the shot, and that's okay, because you're getting paid, and that's a good thing. And other days you get to be an artist, but when you do a lot of it, day after day, you start to feel like you're losing your agency. And the funny thing is, the more that you do outside of work helps you to feel like you're back in control of your creative passion. So I was getting really burnt out for a while, and then I got into film photography, and I realized that the only way to enjoy it again was to do more of it, not less of it.
Yeah.
And so that's what brought me to Nice Film Club, and yeah.
I think that we have somewhat similar paths in the fact that when I was getting out of university and everything, I got a degree in photography and money, of course. And so I did the same thing where I started my own marketing company. And at the height of it, I had 6 different clients at one time. I was handling all of them. And you just get burned out from it because you have no agency. And you have, you're constantly working for somebody else. Money's great, money's awesome. But, for somebody that wants to do this, to be a part of something and to create a body of work and to see life very differently, it really does burn you out a lot. And I think that you gave some really great advice about, I think I went through that point where I was like, maybe I should just not do this, because I was like, I'm so tired of it. And instead I kind of dived deeper into it and reignited that passion. And I think that you're right. When you feel that way, I think you should go further into it rather than taking a step back and actually do something for yourself.
Yeah.
I get that. Yeah,
sure.
We have very similar paths in that.
And yeah, I hope, not to be an inspiration, but you don't have to know.
There's going to be a lot of that
You
tonight.
can just quit your job and become a photographer. It's New York. You'll probably find a way to make money.
That is true. Yeah. I mean, this city is so weird and convoluted, and it's going to put you on your ass at any random point. But I always say to people that move here that no matter, the city gives you what you give it. The more you put into it, the more you're going to get back. Great points.
Hey, I'm Altai Murat.
Hello, I'm Michael. I'm professionally a software engineer. I actually recently quit my job to take an undefined sabbatical in taking photos, basically. I think the irony in this is that my mom is actually a trained artist, a painter, and throughout my entire upbringing, I've always rejected the arts. And then, once I went into my 20s, it's like the only thing I really do, So I started photography 9 years ago, and I think ever since then, the camera has slowly become an extension of my arm, is the best way I can put it, and it's how I interpret the world, I think. And people often ask me if photography makes me less present, and I think it's actually the opposite. I think taking photos puts me very present, and that's what I really like about it. I think generally I like to shoot things that are more forgotten or unknown, and the concept of forgotten and unknown is very varied, right? Because for example, you could look at the Golden Gate Bridge, and it's the most known object, but at the same time it's also one of the most unknown objects if you look at it more closely. So that's one of my big, more artistic directions, is just capturing things that aren't very acknowledged. Yeah.
For reference, he's got a book out. It's so good. It's an entire book completely encapsulating the Golden Gate Bridge in ways that you've never seen it before. And you're right. When I was in San Francisco, of course, I'm going over to Battery Park, and I'm looking at the bridge and everything. It's one of the most iconic pieces of landmark in San Francisco. But the way that you shot that was phenomenal. Yeah, it's great work. You know what I mean? It's it's awesome.
I must applaud.
I respect it so much. That's great. We're just going around introducing ourselves. Let's go in order of the people that walked in. I think you were the next to walk in after we all sat down. So,
I'm Michael. I'm kind of coming out of the season of not taking photos. I've been taking for a while. I didn't think I'd step away. I did. And I did for about 2 years. Taking photos here and there, but this is great. So that's why I really appreciate this opportunity. It kind of feels like a good circled moment to revisit this whole thing. It's a very forgiving place for me. I think in a world where we're so hard on ourselves, I find it that with photos, I don't know what it is. I'm so forgiving to not get a shot. I did Sunday, by the way, a whole roll
Yeah, I came here the next day and we're in there, we're trying to get it, look at it empty. I was like, oh, but you had such a good attitude about it.
Outstanding forgiveness.
For real.
Yeah, so it's been like that. That's been our relationship with photography, and I feel like by stepping away, it's also preserving that. I did do it for business too. I was a wedding photographer for like 6 years. I loved it because I never really chose it. It kind of just worked out that way. And as soon as I felt like I was choosing it, and things felt more like a job, that's where I wanted to preserve that creativity. So I stepped away. That was a hard decision. That made me poor. I was homeless in Florida for a bit. But in such a healthy way. I was like, this is all part of it, I feel. And so for about a month, I moved there. Things were working okay. I met a great studio called Water Cooler. I don't know if that's familiar at all. They're in Tampa. And I don't know, that was just inspiration at that time. Then I was homeless for about a month, and my car got repossessed. I couldn't afford it. And then, but it just felt right. I was thinking about my work. I was very prideful. I told my parents I didn't want their help. I was very upset. And I can't say it was the best in that interest, but it just felt right. Next thing you know, things are clicking. I'm in Los Angeles. I'm back in Arizona where I was born. And now I'm in Chicago, now I'm here. So there's a whole story behind that. I think it's what the cool thing about my photos are. If you ever want to visit that, you can kind of see how that timeline gets shaped over time. But for me, it's a very forgiving space for me, and I really appreciate that.
There's so many things to touch on there.
You're not homeless right now, right?
What's that?
You're not homeless right now.
No.
There's so many things to touch on there. It's an incredible story of overcoming adversity. But I think the thing that I tied back to, there's a couple things about you feeling like it just wasn't really serving you at the time. And when I moved back here to New York, I just got done shooting my book down in Savannah, Georgia. That whole entire time I was working 2 to 3 jobs, and then when we moved back here I had to completely restart. And for the first year and a half that we moved back up here, I didn't touch a camera at all. I just wasn't in the right headspace. I worked 4 jobs every single day because the rent here is fucking nuts, as you know. And I had my girlfriend as a roommate, and we had another roommate, and I was struggling real hard just to even feel creative whatsoever. And I think that I kind of got in the same mindset as you after a year and a half of like, well, I want this to feel organic and not like I'm forcing it. And I felt like every time I picked up a camera for a year and a half, I was forcing it. And it kind of like cut me off from the world around me because I felt this pressure to create these images. And I got even more upset at myself when they didn't turn out the way that I would. I wish that I had your level of calm-mindedness to not just be so angry at not getting the shot.
And I hyperfixate on things so heavily.
Yeah, I mean...
And I don't forgive, and so when you find like that space, there's something going on here.
I think it's interesting. Does anybody know Daido Moriyama by any chance? Daido Moriyama took a 7-year break from photography. He's one of the most influential street photographers to grace the medium. He photographed post-World War II Japan and really like revolutionized black and white photography. Everybody thought that he was this master of photography. Took 7 years away from it. He just couldn't do it. I think that that's a really big lesson in being able to understand that this is a small portion of who we are. It's not our whole identity, and we can always come back to it whenever it serves us, but that's the point, is that it serves us, we don't serve it. I really appreciate you sharing all that. That was amazing. Glad you're here.
Me too.
And then yeah, so remember like my junior year of college, I was going through like a rough time, just like relationships wise and everything, and my French teacher, for whatever, noticed that like I was not like really in it. She was like, "Are you?" She held me back after class. She was like, "Are you okay?" And I explained to her what was going on. And the first question she asked me was if I have any sort of like creative outlet. I was like, "Well, I guess I like to take pictures." I always have the camera on me. And she was like, "You should keep with that. Pour all of your pain and emotions into the photography that you do, because maybe it'll give you some sort of like break outside of yourself.
That's a good teacher.
That is a good teacher, man.
Yeah.
That's rare.
I wasn't expecting. I was expecting like, oh, it's okay, whatever, take out time off your class. But that like stuck with me for a while. So I don't know. I just had a camera with me everywhere I went, and anytime I saw something cool, I would just do it. Like I would just shoot it, and I don't know. Like looking back at some of the older pictures that I took, like it was. I don't know, it helped me a lot because I think I like to capture like the beauty of the world. You know, I think a lot of, especially nowadays, there's a lot of reasons to be sad about the way things are going right now. And I don't know, I think for me, just like capturing people's happiness, just like made me realize, oh, like things aren't always as bad as people say it is. Like it's okay, if you know what I mean. So yeah, that's been my main motivator, just like capturing like happiness and beauty of the world, and something that is seems to be falling apart from the surface.
That's so. You guys are gonna realize I'm a very cheesy guy. I think very deeply about things, and I say some things that you're probably gonna be like, all right, bro, like you're cheesy. But I think that's so pure, like especially because so many people do find things to be so pessimistic about, and myself included. I don't think that I'm a very big opportunist in being happy a lot of the time. So I think that there's this quote that I read recently about how things are very hard, but there are still times in which we can find joy, and things can't progress if we don't find ways in which we can be joyful about things. And I think that almost like mission statement about what you want to do is so tangible, and I think that you should continue to chase that. Thanks for sharing. That was awesome. That was awesome. That was great. Are those from Warby Parker?
They are.
Yeah. They suit your face real good.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Did you work there?
No, I just no.
Just had to ask. I'm Vera. I learned photography in high school in darkroom many years ago. I won't tell you how old I am.
26.
Thank you.
Yep.
I was a software engineer. I'm now a product manager. And I still felt like there was something missing. And I picked up a camera about 8 years ago and started shooting again. And just like fell in love with it, would carry a camera all the time, take pictures, mostly street. And then I took classes everywhere. Penumbra, ICP, SVA, etc. Learned alternative formats, did large format photography. I prefer medium format. And then decided, you know what, I'm gonna go back to school part-time and get my undergrad degree. And Fordham has a program that has flexible hours, and so I am just about to complete my undergrad in photography and visual arts with a focus on photography.
Congratulations.
Many years later, after taking a hiatus, and through that program I also got a grant for a personal narrative project that I'm doing, and got to travel with that and have a second part that I have to travel for in the new year. But for me, I think I actually just really love the process, and the outcome is kind of like icing on the cake. I have pretty low expectations. I'm like you. I just shoot, and like if I get one good image a day, I'm like really happy, but most times I'm not getting one good image a day. And also I just love the unpredictability of film photography specifically, because I could fuck it up the whole way through. I can fuck up the exposure, I can fuck up the development, because I do develop my black and white film, I can fuck up the print. There are so multiple ways and like different variables that are in play, but I kind of learned to like let go of those frustrations, just kind of go with it. So my like self-care is actually being in the darkroom.
Do you enjoy the darkroom the most then?
You know, I would have said yes up until I started this personal project.
Why is that?
Because I was doing mostly street, and I was I felt like I wasn't breaking through in a way that like was personal to me. I was just like, felt like I was documenting things.
Sure.
And I think it takes a while. You just have to keep shooting until you feel like, what do you want to say? So I kind of broke through and got outside of my comfort zone.
Sure.
Just to get the work. And so I'm in the process of kind of stringing some of it all together, figure out how I want to tell my story, that side of the story. And that's all, and I haven't been in the darkroom yet. So, like, I've developed the film, actually developed all my rolls because I was lazy and I just sent them like 25 rolls of film. So I had all the scans and everything, but I haven't actually gone and printed anything yet.
Yeah.
And so I think this is the first time that I'm like really enjoying everything leading up to.
Show of hands, who's printed their work? Who's
In a darkroom or just printed?
just had it printed? That's a good amount of you. That's awesome. A lot of people don't have the opportunity to do that or don't do that. I think it creates such a different relationship with your work, and I imagine developing it yourself does.
Yeah.
I fucking hate it. I hate it so much. I can't stand it. I don't know how to do it. It's not for lack of trying. It's just, I hate it. I can't stand it. I'm just like too busy out on the streets. It's not for me. I'm so in awe of people that are able to do it. And I know that like black and white is very different than color, but I mainly shoot in color. So it's like, this is kind of controversial, but I turn my color images into black and white. Okay, cool. You know?
I don't do that, but
I'll just see myself out.
Because you can shoot in color and make it black and white.
Right!
Black and white, you're never in fucking color.
Right, yeah. Okay, cool. I'm excited for you to dive into that. I know it takes a long time, but when you get to that point, please like reach out to me. I want to see it.
yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I think you were next. I feel like a lot of wedding photographers learn a lot of things about, or can learn a lot of things from photojournalism or street photography, of capturing those real moments. And I used to do wedding photography very briefly. I know you do as well. That stress of like, that's a very important day for a lot of people. I don't know if I can operate underneath those stresses, brother. You know what I mean? So I really respect what you guys do. You guys capture so many things that are so important to people. And I feel like sometimes people, I don't know how you feel and how you feel. Do you ever feel like people kind of like downplay wedding photography?
Yeah, I didn't even understand why it was so expensive before I did it. Oh, okay, I get it now.
It's a long day too. Like there's not a lot of jobs in photography where you're there, inside, outside for 10 hours.
Yeah, that's
just
crazy.
Following stuff around, not eating, like
Yeah.
that soda at the 8-hour mark. That's so good.
Little Sprite.
You need that caffeine sugar rush to keep it going. It's good.
Yeah, I really respect you guys because you guys do the stuff that I can't do, for sure. That's awesome. I'm glad you're here. I think you were next, and wait, no, you were next. With your ice cream cone. Where'd you get it from? Figos? Figos?
I like to call it gelato.
Oh, okay. All right. I'll go fuck myself.
I'm sorry I'm late. I feel like I missed out on some really cool stories about who you cats are and how you guys got into photography. And it's my loss. The people who did speak, there's a lot, there's almost, well, I'm old, so I can live a lot of lives, and there are a lot of elements that I really identify with in everyone's journey together. And I had poor memory, facial memory especially. I don't remember faces, but I have ADD, so I can hyper remember some shit. It's just not the shit I wanted to recall. So I was telling Cheryl was her name, and I was telling Cheryl this, and then next thing I knew, I had this box, which is a Sony camera that came in when I was telling her. I had this Panasonic little point and shoot, and I was like shooting, and being ADD means that whenever I into something, time doesn't register.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, which really sucks to be in a relationship with me, because I'm just gonna be right back 3 hours later. So when that happened, I realized this was something serious for me, and that it meant something to me. And initially I was just documenting people, and it was just those quick snapshots. And then eventually I started to interact with people to the point where I wanted to record them and document them. And then I realized everything I'm documenting is really a reflection of myself. And that I'm using photography and the editing process especially to reflect on myself. If I'm putting it down, but for whatever reason or not, I start getting that kind of itch and that kind of just, my relationship to the world becomes more tethered. So I just dived into comics, and then I went to analog, and then 2020 came along, and I'm seeing a bunch of kids in relation to me, but your contemporaries, doing things and speaking to me through images that's telling me that I should have done more when I was younger. And the thing I do is take photos. All of which to say, I don't know if I take good photos. I just know I take the photos that mean something to me once every few rolls. Photography has some of the, judgmental as shit, but really accepting community. I'm really looking forward to seeing everyone's work, because I feel through your work, I'll get to see a part of you that words will not be able to describe.
I mean, guys, he touched on about 3 impactful things that I learned throughout my journey, one of which being, you don't know if your photographs are good. There's a book that I brought over here that is on one of my reading recommendation lists that I read a couple years ago. It's called The Soul of the Photograph, and the very first chapter is titled, Is It Good? And in it, it talks about our relationship with our own work and how people view our work. And I was maybe 20 years old when I read this, and at 20 years old I was teaching myself photography, and I was in that mindset where I wanted people to think I was good. You know, it was just like, I want people to know I like this. That's so counterintuitive. It's like, it doesn't matter, because the moment that a photo is released out into the world, everybody has their own interpretation of the work. Nobody knows what it took to create that image in that moment. And so, you know, our relationship with the work is going to be drastically different than anybody else's. So worrying about that, there's no point. The other thing that you really touched on, I really kind of know what you mean about feeling like you started something too late. I talk to a lot of people that, you know, they're like, well, I haven't been doing it that long. It really doesn't matter. Everybody is so unique, and there's not really any objectivity in this medium, especially street photography. And I've just kind of lived within the past couple of years of realizing that I am a photojournalist, and there should be a level of objectivity within photojournalism. But we as a collective and as people have our own life experiences that dictate what we frame, and we can't really change that. I really appreciate you sharing all that. That was awesome. You touched on a lot of really great things there. I'm excited to see your work. I guess I should do a small introduction. I'm Jared Tapy. I've been shooting since I was 6. My mother was, whose mother was a painter? Your mother was a painter. My mother was a painter. We grew up in a very abundant art home, and I think I attribute everything to my mother. She gave me a Kodak disposable camera when I was 6, and it was off from the races from there. By the time I was 10, she had a little Nikon Coolpix, which is like a little digital camera, and I stole it from her one day when I was going to school because I wanted to take pictures of my friends. My father was a blue-collar guy, and he was like, you should turn it into a business. And so I took pictures of my 5th grade classmates when I was 10, and I would sell the pictures to the parents for $15 a week. And I think the thing that really connects all of us in here was a lot of people talked about memory. I myself have memory issues. I don't remember what I ate for breakfast this morning, you know what I mean? And I think that that's one of the most beautiful things about this art form, is that as time moves on, as it's everlasting and is always going on, we forget so much about what we experience in a day-to-day period. And the act for me of street photography and photojournalism is really like a point for me to like have a recollection of what was going on. I finished my first book in Savannah, Georgia. I spent 4 years down there where my girlfriend was attending university. And the whole premise of it was about these historic places that were being essentially gentrified, which is a big problem that we have here in New York City. And it was less about people and more about place. And you know, growing up, being around people all the time, I knew that when we came up to Brooklyn that this is what I wanted to do full time. I already talked about having, you know, 3 or 4 jobs at a time and not having a time period where I shot, but I think that the best thing about photography for me was always the fact that it brought me closer to other people. Like it's bringing me closer to you guys right now, to be able to hear your guys' story and hear how I can really connect with a lot of the things that you guys said. Is such a unique thing for all of us to be able to experience life at this time and document it in ways that we find unique while still doing the same things and going to the same places. We all, for the most part, live here in the city except you 3, which is awesome that you guys are here. I'm so appreciative. But that's what photography has always meant to me. And with that, I'd like to shut the fuck up and continue on with seeing everybody's work. So how we're gonna do this, in general, I think we're just gonna pass along each other's work. Everybody knows the photos that they took. I'm gonna kind of go around and give a little bit more of like a little bit constructive feedback and answer questions, because you know, a lot of you guys were asking me a lot of questions on Sundays, and I wanna make sure that I get to everybody. I just kind of want this to be free-forming. I don't want it to be like singled out and everybody like be on a spotlight. So I would say, how about we all put our work on the table and then we'll just kind of rotate around and flip through. Everybody can kind of meander and talk about each other's work. And if you guys want me to come around and kind of talk about your compositions and your pictures constructively, then we'll do that. Thank you all for sharing so much about yourselves, by the way. That was way better than I could have expected.
So when I see a red Corvette going down Saks or Fifth Ave, whatever, no, you're just like, this is a moment that I know what your grandfather would like. And then I saw that kid look. The same thing, emotionally. Like you're a kid, you're distracted, but there's a red Corvette. And the dad being a part of it was cool for me.
Great Prince song.
What?
Great Prince song. It is, it's just like the childhood innocence and the curiosity of it. Oh, it's great. Love that. Please.
Okay, so I chose 2 images. This is the first one. First reason I took it, obviously composition, you know, there's depth, there's leading lines, and then he's the only one in the subject. And then the last thing, or second thing is, you know, Jared said like open-ended photos, like you don't know why he's there alone or what he's doing to get to, you know, lead up to this photo. So I think that was really cool. And last, I'm really into movies and film, so like this scene kind of reminded me of Taxi Driver, and he's like God's lonely man or whatever. So it reminded me of that.
This is very Robert Frank-esque. Yeah, just very, like I would see that in The Americans, you know? Sure, yeah.
And then this is the second one.
Yes.
Yeah.
I love that.
What was it? Yeah, that was fantastic.
I didn't even see this happen. We're all standing in the same corner.
Yeah, it was so quick.
You're telling me he got up fast?
Dude, there's no idea he's being murdered somewhere.
So first, obviously, composition. There's lines, again, depth, and then like the people fill the frame. But then like why I like this image so much is because it seems like everybody's like heads is cut off, or you know, you can't really see where they're looking. Besides for this little girl, and you can obviously like she's looking right at the man. Everybody's kind of like dismissive of him, and I think it says like something about innocence of a child and like how everybody's like learns to be like not apathetic, but like just like in such a crowded city, there's so much going on. Everybody learns to be so, or becomes so dismissive or whatever, and I think, you know, it says something about that.
Yeah, I agree, especially here.
And then hearing you, 16, dissect that.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Right?
Sign all your
Yes.
for future.
I know, right? It's like I'm looking at a prodigy here. Like, can you sign your photos? Can I get one? Jesus. So in like 35, 40 years, I'm like, yeah, I had one of his first. Yeah.
No, also, there's something about that shot, which was, I saw it earlier, and it's a very vulnerable, potentially humiliating moment, but the way you captured it is, it captures the humanness and the vulnerability, but protects the dignity somehow, and I think the child being there and like the innocence of that all really keeps it. It was incredible.
It's very graceful.
That is also, I'm like, 16, get out of here.
I believe I didn't even notice the girl when I saw it the first time, but I love how parents tell their kids not to stare, and this girl is dead on, like.
Yeah.
Oh, because kids love to stare.
They just, you can't train that out, like, but everyone around them is intentionally not staring at the guy who fell down. You know,
like this fucker just fell.
But the kid hasn't been trained yet, which I love that.
She hasn't been trained yet.
Well, because it's natural.
Yeah,
like,
for real.
Something happened, but she's still locked in on that naturally. It's so cool.
This was great. I do want to, before we get into if anybody wants to come up and, you know, receive like some one-on-one little critique and everything, I do want to open the floor to some questions that you guys might have about anything pertaining to photography that, you know, we can address here. I'd be more than willing to answer. So if not, that's totally fine. But if anybody has any questions.
How do you even get sent on an assignment?
How do I get sent on assignment?
Yeah,
It's
like,
very...
how does that world work? Because
It's-
I come from the world of like client services.
Sure.
So in terms of journalistic documentary,
Yeah.
how does that even work?
It's very different than what a lot of it used to be. Nowadays, it's a lot of networking. It's a lot of marketing. It's a lot of knowing the right people and inserting yourself at the right time. So a big part of it has come from my ability to reach a good amount of followers by now, because people are tuned into that, where I've had the opportunity to have editors from New York Times, from New Yorker, from New York Mag and everything like that follow me, where they see my work and they'll reach out to me. A lot of the time it comes from who you know now, which is very different than what it used to be. I have an 1.5 hour long YouTube video about the history of photojournalism and where we've come from and what it is now. It's a drastically different place than what it was at the heyday of photojournalism, when we're talking about Magnum, when we're talking about
Life magazine.
Life magazine, correct, which was a big contributor to why photojournalism fell in the first place. Everything comes down to who you know now. And it's a very shit hand that we've been dealt. A great place to get started is LinkedIn. Sending people your portfolios and your resumes and what you've accomplished, showing and having a good body of work that showcases your diversity in what you can cover. I think a great example is, in order to get a New York City press pass here, it's not that hard. It kind of is. But they've been a lot more lax than what they were in the past. In order to get a New York City press pass here, you have to have covered 6 different events across the city, whether it be protests, parades, community events that have been set up by the city.
Is that published or just covered?
No, it's just covered. And they can be posted on your Instagram, they can be posted on your portfolio and everything. They don't have to be published within a publication like a New York Times or anything like that. I think having those 6 pieces is a great start to sending your work into an editor. It is just, unfortunately, the way that the cookies have crumbled in the photojournalism community.
It's more that I wanted to know whether the industry is similar to the world of design. And it's basically identical.
Yeah.
And I have no problem playing the game if I have to play the game. But
it's just unfortunate.
It's unfortunate, yeah.
Yeah.
One of the things you have to do is like find a desk that will have an editor that will be paying attention to what
Yes. Yeah, I mean, my whole career has been built on do the thing for free by myself, share the thing, reach the people, and then get paid for it. Like that's been the whole career in every industry.
And I have to be honest, guys, if you guys do want to be a photojournalist, it's not great money. It's really not. Like, yeah. Yeah. Like, it's like $300 for a photo, you know, and that is far and few in between. So it really is just like you're doing it for the love of the game. Yeah. Good question, because I know a lot of people want to get into that. Anybody else?
I covered a little bit on that, actually. It's an old cabinet, but in 2014, when I graduated, I worked for the Santa Barbara News Press in California, and they had a list of photographers that worked for them. There was like 40 of us, and they would just send out an assignment to all 40 of us, and whoever replied got it. And they paid $50 for the assignment, and if you had to travel over 30 minutes, they paid $75 for the whole assignment, not just one photo.
My first staff photography job was down in the city of Savannah, and that's how I got my start in photojournalism. And my first job was covering a marathon. Oh, fun, dude! See people run.
What was your time?
What was my time? Yeah, for real. And it paid like $70, and I was out there for hours, dude, hours. It's not like what it used to be, you know. And it's unfortunate because I do feel as if photojournalism is probably the thing that I'm drawn to most, even past street photography, because it's a historical record, but it's just not what it used to be. It all started back in 2008 with Shutterstock and Corbis and everything like that. So
He stopped hiring staffers and just started going on.
yeah, I mean, a couple of months ago, more than a couple of months ago by now, like the Washington Post let off all of their photography division. Really the only organizations that have staff photography positions are AP, Reuters, and New York Times still has some, but that's about it.
Pays nothing, doesn't get me the rights.
No, that's crazy. What's even crazier is that the Copyright Act was passed in 1973, and so it's like, it's still relatively new to have rights over your own images, you know? And they'll still exploit the fuck out of you. Yeah. I know, did you have one?
Yeah, I was just wondering, like you guys mentioned right now, but I was gonna ask, like, what was different back then?
Well, I mean, how far back do you want to go?
Like
Before the big change, I mean, it really all started with Magnum. Post-World War II, 4 photographers came together: David Chim Seymour, Harnier Cartier-Bresson, Robert Capa, and Roger. They all came together because they were getting screwed out of their images. Back then, before Magnum was created, photographers didn't own the rights to their images. So what that meant was that any publication could crop their images, could make caption and completely change the story. The photographers were getting paid a flat rate, and Magnum came along with their idea of what photojournalism should be. And it wasn't until 1973 when the Copyright Act was passed. And there was a really good sweet spot where like photographers were able to have their own rights, but then everything changed in 2008, I think is when it was. And that's when the internet was first really starting to come around. Corbis, Shutterstock, Getty Images, which was owned by Bill Gates. They came in and they bought the rights to everything, and they just completely changed the landscape of photojournalism. Yeah. There is one question that I got a bunch on Sunday that I want to address. A bunch of you came up and asked me how I know when to take an image. I don't. This is one thing that I get asked a lot on Instagram and in emails and DMs. It's pure instinct, and only you can know when to take a photograph. I can sit here and I can go over my entire archive of the moments that I photographed, and we can look at those and draw conclusions about it. It's all instinct. And I know you asked this specifically, a couple other people. Everything that comes from street photography is pure subjective reality around us. Only you can make that decision. All of us have our own upbringings. All of us have our own.
I want to add to that. Can I add to that?
Yeah.
That's so special. I'm a drummer, and music, and I think you have to be a drummer or musically talented to know this, but you know that feeling when the song feels good?
Yeah.
I think that's the instinct, at least when I like to share, if I want to get some imagery to somebody about taking a photo. I say the same thing, I don't know, it's just a feeling. And I think with music, we want like that favorite song to get hits, right? I think it's like, that's the instinct that I like to share as far as, I don't know it, but I feel like that's the feeling I relate to.
And
Yeah.
To add to that as well, from a dance practice, I think as a dancer, when I move, right, like, and it is crazy as much as, like, it takes a while to get comfortable, and sometimes I joke when people are like, it is the corny line of like, when you dance like no one's watching. I know that I move differently when I'm practicing all by myself. But then at some point you switch, and if you're able to shut everybody off, you kind of also go, there's 2 times I'm dancing best. It's either when I'm dancing when no one's watching, or dancing like when I know everybody's watching. So but I think it's a full, you can't describe it, but also if you only release any inhibition of thinking about it and purely moving with what your body is wanting to do, and I think it's kind of similar with photography to our point, and practice, right? Like you do it so many times and then you're not even thinking about it, and your body, your mind, your hand probably just makes those connections. And with the music, it's time and muscle memory, and
it
muscle
is.
memory is not, the brain is muscles too. So
Yeah.
That's why I think it's so cool that we were able to do this, because you can see that a lot of us have like very similar shots, but they all feel so different. So we like got it in like maybe seconds like within each other, but it's all such like a different feeling based on who took the photo.
Yeah.
Can I throw it on that as well?
Throw whatever you want in.
Not wanting to know when to take a photo is being attached to the outcome.
Yeah.
Want it to be a good outcome. So you have to rely on intuition, be in the flow state, and then just go and be detached from the outcome. Like I don't get the photo that people said they liked if I'm trying to get that photo.
Right.
I don't care about it. Because I need to be with the people, and the camera is the accessory, it's not
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure most of us have heard this. We should work until the camera becomes an extension of our eye. You know, that's as cliche as that is, it's very truthful. And that only comes from practice. I think about street photography and what I do. I grew up my entire life being an athlete. This is a sport, none the other. It's a very physical act of street photography. On days that I'm out shooting, I'm walking 20 miles a day. I'm bobbing and weaving. I was having the conversation with you about how street photography to me is a lot like boxing and a lot like dancing, where there's a certain choreography that happens when you're tapped into it, and being able to move in minute adjustments to be able to create a compelling image in a frame that speaks as if you understand what's going on. I think that another thing that I really, really understand from where you're coming from is that for me, photography is one very small facet of a grandiose, more vision of life and art. I study everything. I study culinary arts and dancing and music and literature and poetry and painting. All of these things are so important to understand as a photographer because they bring us closer to understanding how everybody else views the world. And that's a very big part of what I try to accomplish in understanding people. Good question. I don't know, that all kind of like leaded into one another. That was great. Who else? Anybody? No? Yes.
You're working on a project right now. You've been working on for a while.
I've been working on a project for the last 5 years, so I love to take my time. I'm not a big fan of trying to rush things. I had a couple questions about how to know how to start a project. The way that I started my one in Savannah was I just shot for 6 months, came back, did exactly this. I printed a bunch of 4x6s, and I had a buddy that was kind of like a little bit more advanced than me at the time, though I considered a colleague, and we discussed things that sequenced well together. And then from that sequencing session, I was able to find a theme between all of those things. So I've been working on my second book now for the last 5 years. I don't feel as if I'll be ready for another maybe 2-3 years.
So that's what I was going to ask. What like signals you that
You know. You just know. That's exactly how it was with my first book. It was like, I'm done with this. I've explored everything that I've needed to explore. I don't feel like shooting this anymore. I say that as long as you have the passion to keep going out and doing that thing, chase it for however long you want. The case in point is he was a Magnum photographer, Sebastião Salgado. He spent 8 years photographing workers across the world, like labor workers in mines and all across the world. He spent 8 years doing that. After that, immediately he spent 8 years photographing for this book called Genesis, which was all about the landscapes around the world. You just know. You just know when you're done. Yeah, good question. I know that comes up a lot. Anybody else before? Yes.
Do you have any other like artistic disciplines that you do that you like to or like could you see yourself extending to say like
I love writing. Writing for me has always been, I grew up in a very literate household. My mother was a very big reader. She really put that on me from a very young age. I read the entirety of the Harry Potter series by 2nd grade. Like, it's always been something that we've really did, especially in my childhood. Writing is probably the second most important thing to my artistic life as photography is, and I really encourage people that are into this line of work to write. I keep a journal with me at all times. I have it over there. where I take notes about what I saw, where I take notes about what I was feeling while I was shooting, the lessons that I've learned from other people. You don't even have to be a good fucking writer. Like, sometimes I just write shit down, I'm like, that's a terrible sentence. It's just about getting it out. And the more that, it's also extremely important to be able to talk about your work. It's crucial, especially if this is what you want to do, you have to be marketable. And as unfortunate it is, again, like I said, like it's about who you know, and a lot of the times it's about how you're able to describe your work. Writing is essential to being able to be profitable in this line of work. Other than that, I'm a shit painter. I'm a shit drawer. I think that photography really drew me in because if I was interested in anything else beside reality, I'd be a better painter, but I'm just so intrigued by reality. Yeah, that's it. All right. If you guys want to bring your work up, I'll be sitting right here. We can have some one-on-one time and talk about your guys' work and critiques and everything. If you guys have to head out, you guys can head out, but I'd love to sit and chat some more, answer your guys' questions. I can't thank you guys enough for being here.
What did we say on content?
I have a book over here. It's my journal. I would love for you guys to put all of you guys' contact information and Instagrams. This is what I got so far. I hope that you guys all put it in here. Names and Instagrams.
Yes.
Everybody fill that up. I'm gonna come sit in this corner and you guys bring me your guys' photographs if you guys want to talk. Bring up a chair. Actually, I'm gonna sit on the couch. I'm tired of being uncomfy.